Hello, I'm back. I'd like to send out love and compassion to anybody who's suffering right now. I'd like to send out a little extra special bit of love and compassion to the people in New York City, all my friends, and everybody else. I know there's a lot of stuff in the news about how hard New York is getting hit right now, and I have a very special message that's just for you. Just wanted to put that out there. I love you, and I'm thinking about you. For people who don't know, I lived in New York for 18 years, and uh, it was a special, wonderful time for me. Um, I can remember the first time I was helping a friend move, and I was driving there and coming over the New Jersey Turnpike and seeing that skyline that um, everybody knows from pictures and stuff, and it was kind of just like the Wizard of Oz or something. It was just a breathtaking experience, and then as I get closer and closer into uh, inside the city and how all of that kind of just disappears, and you're just completely immersed in the people, um, just the massive swarms of people who are just all going about and kind of like interacting and not interacting, and you see like very clearly broken people who are like walking right next to people who seem to really have it all together, and they're colliding, and they're completely not. They're passing each other by and missing each other, and it's an amazing menagerie of human uh, activity, and I just yeah wanted to point out that that's it's the people um, of New York that make it so amazing. The buildings and all that stuff. I could remember living there, going for days and not even looking up, and then I would, and I'd be like, "Holy shit! Look at all these buildings!" And like it's kind of an amazing phenomenon, and I'm very glad that the model of a big urban center like New York has become kind of uh, its importance for like the human condition, and I think maybe potentially even the world, uh, that it's a benefit, that it's a good idea. A lot of people associate big cities sometimes with things like pollution, and but I think there's also something to be said about public transportation and the sharing of resources, the uh, that that make them a good idea for the future. And so I'm very glad. Kansas City, when I was younger, was a very sparsely populated. The downtown center was very sparsely populated, and it sort of seemed like when I was younger that was sort of how people were going to start living, like moving out with their cars and living further apart. And it's nice to have seen that kind of reversed. I know there's probably some people who lived in that area very cheaply who aren't so happy about it now, but I appreciate um, our renewed interest in urban centers, and New York is the is a great example of that. Okay, before I play my song, I did get a question. My friend Selena wrote me a question. Thank you, Selena. Um, uh, Selena asks, um, can you tell us about that flag behind you with what looks like a sun and a word inside, maybe? Thanks again, and I love you. Thank you. And I love you too, Selena. Thank you. Um, yeah, thanks for asking. Uh, this flag above me, there is a word inside of it. It's a Sanskrit word. It's for the word Ram. And Ram is a Hindu deity who is the seventh avatar of the god Vishnu. Um, and to be honest, I am not super into Hinduism specifically, but I got the flag when I ordered a bunch of books from a website for a teacher who has made a huge difference in my life in the past few years, who goes by the name of Ram Dass. Um, and he has been around for a long time. He's actually, he left his body a few months ago, actually, but he has been a really great teacher of mindfulness and meditation. He was originally a Harvard psychology professor who went to India and connected with a guru who gave him the name Ram Dass, and he has a great archive of material, a pod in the form of podcasts. It's a lot of his archived speeches or talks called Love, Serve, Remember, or you could probably just Google Ram Dass and then podcast. And I would highly recommend starting at the beginning of those talks and podcasts, and that's kind of how I got turned on to him. And it's been really great. It was sort of my introduction to a lot of this stuff, and it was like he's a great he is just a really great teacher for people who are just getting exposed to it, because his personal journey is really similar to a lot of people, I think, who grow up in the Western influences and then kind of slowly make that transition and discovery into some of these more Eastern kind of ideologies that aren't really, they're a lot more prevalent now, but back then they really weren't. So the song I'm going to play for you is a song that's very connected to New York City for me. It's also connected to a very important issue that I felt really strongly about for a long time, and I hope that this unfortunate pandemic, hopefully one of the silver linings to this pandemic, which I believe there can be. Perhaps it's not in the front of people's minds right now, and that's totally understandable. But if we can, at some point, or when we do, sit back and reflect upon this whole ordeal, we can remember the source of all of it, and the source of all of it really comes from our the mistreatment of animals, and I think that that's an important subject that hopefully will not leave people's consciousness once we get through the hard times of this pandemic, and we'll understand the importance. Perhaps we'll consider the importance of how we treat other, not just animals, but other living things, humans and plants, anything living. Okay. There's a lady on the train, and there's graffiti in the glass, like a high-8 film projector as the subway cars go past. Her train is going uptown, mine is going down. 3-second private screening of an Angel Underground. And maybe she will take me where the pets run free, where the dogs and cats and gerbils are just animals like me. We could build a window where everyone could see that we may not like what happens when we simply let them be. And maybe we could get married. So we could finally be free. And maybe we could be parents. So we know what we should be. There's a monkey with a suitcase, there's a camel in a car. All the animals are on the move to go find out what they are. They're arguing on cell phones about where they want to go, and they're circulating backwards to try and forget what they know. And it seems like every day now there's so much more at stake. Like you can't take too much more, but there's so much more you could take. And every day I wake up and I pray for heaven's sake that someday I will wake up and I'll really be awake. And maybe they'll make a movie. Must let the people know. Taking away your freedom by making you be yourself. So you finally made some money to spend. You finally found something that you can defend. And the world's not falling apart, my friend. Only we are. I love you. Until we meet again.